We are here with the Spinto band, live in the studio.
This is Nick playing guitar and singing.
And this is Thomas playing the bass guitar and singing.
And this is Sam playing keyboards and singing a little bit.
All right, guys, you guys are from Wilmington, Delaware, born and bred.
Yes, indeed.
Big news is you guys got chosen to play the Firefly concert, the big
Yeah,
festival, the big 3-day thing. How'd that come around?
I'm not really sure. They just sort of contacted us, or our booking agent, and yeah, it was great when we saw that come in. It was really exciting. We would, last year when we saw the festival coming to the state, it was really exciting, and we really wanted to play it, but didn't get to. So it's cool to play it this year.
Have you guys done festivals before?
Yeah, we've done some festivals over in Europe a bunch of times, but actually never a festival of this scale in the States. We've done smaller ones, but this is like the biggest one stateside that we've ever done.
It's a little bit different playing to a festival crowd than it is a traditional, bar crowd, club crowd, small venue type thing, which I'm sure you guys are probably pretty much predominantly used to playing. But tell us a little bit about that. What's like playing like festivals like big crowds?
I just feel like the stage is just so much bigger. We're used to being pretty crammed together. I feel like that's one thing you have to adjust. Is just how it sounds on stage and when it's going out just into a big field, that makes it sound a lot different.
Yeah, it's a different experience, like sonically. It's not like a hot and sweaty little club or anything with a big ball of noise. It's more separate, it seems.
Yeah, you don't have the things bouncing back off the rafters or the concrete blocks or the glasses of beer and.
But in the same way, it's just as exciting because of all that, because it's a new little way to be playing. It's fun to be playing to a bunch more people than usual too.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that there's a lot of new faces that will get to be exposed to you and perhaps have heard the name or maybe even haven't heard the name, but we'll get to.
Yeah, that should be exciting.
It's usually like what kind of clubs are you guys used to playing? Like what is the typical show for the Spinto band?
I mean, these days, like we just got back a little U.S. tour. We were playing like Johnny Brenda's in Philadelphia. We love to play that place, or like Mercury Lounge in New York. So those kind of medium, smallish kind of places, and that's where we feel at home these days.
Sort of like even locally, I guess there's probably a few venues like that, but they're not as predominant as they used to be. We don't have our barn doors anymore, and
yeah, Mojo Maine is really fun though.
Yeah,
Gotta love that place. Even back to when it was the old East End Cafe where we first started playing.
Yeah.
Always comfortable in that little spot.
And when that place is packed in, it's really always a great show.
And they do really well. When it was the East End, they did a really good job of bringing in like a lot of national acts and stuff like that. I mean, I think I saw John Cale there and Richie Havens. I mean, that was
John Cale. That was crazy.
Yeah. So like it's as a studio band, predominantly, you guys have been recording probably since you could walk, but like I would definitely call you guys a studio band, even though you're very talented, you can play live. I think like what you guys do in the studio is more of a creative kind of thing. How do you translate that to your live act?
Well, I think translating it, part of translating it is acknowledging that the live show is a completely different beast, and so a lot of the intricate arrangements and stuff that we do in the recording process, we just find ways to figure out how to divide those parts up between the 5 members of the group, and sometimes that results in Sam playing guitar lines or Joe playing keyboard lines, and so just trying to embrace the fact that it's different and just going full force with it.
It's probably a lot easier having composed all the songs together and knowing the parts that he could pick up those parts. He could just pick up the guitar and say, I got to play this little part, put it down, come over to the keyboard, hammer these up.
Sometimes after recording a record, and then maybe a few months down the line, you're like, oh shoot, we have to play this live. I forget that part. Yeah, because if you're in the studio just making up a part, you may make it up, and then cool part, and then you kind of forget. You never you may have only played it for a few hours that day in the studio, and then need to play it a bunch all of a sudden for a tour.
Because the next day you were recording a new keyboard part, and then that's that's in your head.
Yeah.
What I back to Firefly real quick. Are you guys excited to see there? There's some pretty big names, but then again, like some names that like you wouldn't expect. I mean, Calvin Harris. I think that's something that I wouldn't necessarily expect to see at a festival, at like a rock festival. But at the same time, I mean, there's got to be somebody there you guys are looking forward to checking out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of them actually. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of bands I'd just be curious to see how they put on a concert. Like I don't know who's like Lumineers are playing. Vampire Weekend should be exciting.
I'd love to see Public Enemy.
Oh yeah,
Public
Enemy.
That's pretty crazy.
That's
huge. Tom Petty. I mean, that would be a cool experience. Grizzly Bear playing. I don't know.
Foxygen.
Oh
yeah.
New band. That's
plenty of
plenty to go
bands.
around.
And then also just wandering the grounds and probably discovering new stuff, because there are a lot of names on there too that I'm unfamiliar with. So.
And you guys actually you have kind of more of an intimate access than the rest of the people at the festival. I mean, you're going to be backstage. You'll get to see these guys and meet these guys, and running up to Flavor Flav is probably
that'll be awesome. Face in your face.
It's funny, like as an aside, I've heard that he's pretty much the most accomplished musician of the band, actually. So it's an interesting little factoid. Let's talk a little bit about the roots. If you got your roots, I mean, like I said before, music is pretty much in your blood. Let's talk about the beginning. Let's go back.
Way back.
Let's do it. High school, middle school. When did it start?
Well, when all of us were in middle school and high school. Well, I guess Nick and I first started exchanging each other's music on like cassette tapes way back in middle school, and we just became friends, over that, like really good friends. And I had been playing with like my brother and my stepbrother and my friends, the other guy in the band. So, and my stepfather and Joe and Jeff's father were in this band.
Who are? Yeah.
Yeah, we were in this band called. Are in this band. Yeah, they're called the Sin City Band.
We've been playing around for
big
almost
Delaware.
30 years in Delaware. So
yeah,
in the area, Chester County.
Pretty much a musical pedigree.
Yeah, they got headlining Firefly as far as I'm concerned.
I know.
Yeah. When are they gonna get there?
I think the rest of the band's playing might be a little intimidated to put them to shame a little bit.
Yeah.
So basically, like, you guys have been you come from a musical family. There's families. You grown up together. You have like a bond that not too many bands have. I mean, you probably know the next place he's gonna go with a melody and a chord change, or like some fill that the drummer's just gonna all of a sudden explode into.
Yeah, there is a weird vocabulary, especially in the studio. I feel like there's definitely a vocabulary, musical vocabulary that we all share, and also sort of sensibilities and like what kind of tones people like, or what kind of weird, cool little riff Joe might do. Like, so yeah, there's it's pretty exciting to have that, and I feel like sometimes I don't realize it until I recording another band in the studio who was just like, I'm not as familiar with them personally, and it's weird to be like, oh wow, I kind of took this for granted that everybody was this like crazy amoeba of music, but I guess it's pretty cool.
Let's talk about your influences for a little bit. I mean, you guys obviously knowing Scott Burney and Steve Hobson's influences, Graham Parsons and the Byrds and country rock at that level. And where did you guys start to begin your process at musically? Who influenced this besides the family?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess at the very beginning, it would probably have been like. The Beatles have always been in there, but when we were trading cassette tapes, it would have been like, I feel like, I don't know, Flaming Lips, Pavement, Bonzo Dog Band was in there, Residents were early influence, Ween was early influence. So yeah, that was sort of like the start of it, and I guess from there, who knows, went every which way.
I feel like just different bands as they've come along.
It's interesting.
Newer bands, but the older bands have always been there too.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say Ween, because they're sort of the same sort of like studio project where they put this music together and then take it on the road and
Right.
see what they can do
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I
And
think that's part of it.
and they've actually grown. I like to think that like Ween's like later records were more mature, more musical statements. I mean, starting from the Mollusk on, like
Yeah,
they kind of like
Definitely.
really stepped up their game, and
Oh.
like I think they're real legitimate records. And
Oh,
a lot
of
of people
course.
toss them
Yeah.
off as a joke, then, but it's
No,
like
No, they're very talented songwriters, and they work in a lot of different musical genres, and they're just very prolific band. And it was just nice growing up to be hearing a Ween record, which you could hear like it was obviously a cassette tape, and obviously like, oh, I bet he's playing through the same chorus pedal that we have. That's kind of inspiring to hear. Like, oh, I could get that sound. And
probably the same exact one. They probably sold it and you bought it from
yeah,
the punch.
probably.
Yeah.